All right, so got an update on the Iran situation right now. The Associated Press says the following. The United States and Iran said Friday they will begin indirect negotiations with intermediaries next week to try to get both countries back into compliance with an accord limiting Iran's nuclear program nearly 3 years after President Donald Trump pulled the U.S. out of the deal. The announcement marks one of the first bits of tangible progress in efforts to return both nations to the terms of the 2015 accord, which bound Iran to restrictions in return for relief from U.S. and international sanctions. President Joe Biden came into office saying that getting back into the accord and getting Iran's nuclear program back under international restrictions was a priority. But Iran and the United States have disagreed over Iran's demands that sanctions be lifted first. And that deadlock has threatened to become an early foreign policy setback for the new U.S. president. Administration officials played down expectations for next week's talks. State Department spokesperson Ned Price called the resumption of negotiations scheduled for Tuesday in Vienna a healthy step forward, but Price added, "These remain early days, and we don't anticipate immediate breakthrough as there will be difficult discussions ahead." So, we're not directly doing Iran talks, we're doing step removed, let's have our friends talk to them type talks. I mean, this is so goofy. This is so goofy. Listen, Donald Trump pulled out of the Iran deal. We broke the Iran deal. We pulled out of the Iran deal. They continued complying even after that for the international community. And it was only much later on, after we already violated the deal multiple times and pulled out of it, they were like, okay, guess we're going to go ahead and start developing our weapons more. And then second that they did that, U.S. media and U.S. politicians were like, oh my God, this is an aggressive act. This is an offensive act. We're in danger. When again, we violated the deal, we put more sanctions on them, and we pulled out of the deal. So Biden ran on, I'm going to get back into it. Then he gets in office, he's like, psych, I'm not going to do that. You do understand, this is the biggest botch job of all time. All Biden had to do was get in there and say, I'm now returning us to the Iran deal. Lift the sanctions, and then Iran would have went right back to what it was doing before. Because you don't get to demand a gesture of goodwill when you were the one who violated it. This country violated it. That's a fact. It's not an opinion, that's a fact. So you don't get to say to the world, an agreement with me is not worth the fucking paper it's written on, and then now you're making more demands from somebody else. Why would they agree to that? Why would they agree to that? You already burned them a few times. Why would they agree to that? It makes no sense. They wouldn't agree to that. So all you had to do was get in, issue a formal apology. You don't even need to do it publicly. Do it in the back channels. Issue a formal apology, say, my bad, that previous guy was crazy. We negotiated the deal. We know the deal's great. We know you've been abiding by it. Our bad, son. Anyway, here's what we're going to do. We're right back in it. Sanctions lifted. Let's do the damn thing. And they would have immediately let the IAEA, regulators back in. They would have immediately started complying because they were fully complying the entire fucking time. But no, he didn't do it. He started, trying to be, I won't be pushed around. I'm going to be a total dick just like the previous guy. So how about you go back to following it and we don't follow it yet, and then after you start following it, then I'll lift the sanctions. All right, let's have talks, but I'm not going to talk directly to you. I'm going to talk to my friend who's then going to talk to you because I can't talk directly to you. I'm a man. I'm strong. You're an idiot is what you are. You're a fucking idiot. And listen, sorry, but we're to blame in this whole scenario. And so he's botching this 1,000 ways. Biden has done the worst job on foreign policy of every different issue. Between bombing Syria, keeping us in Iraq and Afghanistan, messing up Iran. It's just, it's Trumpian. It's absolutely Trumpian. And it's unacceptable. They need to change course, but I don't think they're going to do that, especially because, Biden's defense secretary took a tremendous amount of money from, I think it was Raytheon, over $1 million. He used to be on the board of Raytheon. They paid him over $1 million. Now he's the defense secretary. Gee, I wonder what his positions are going to be. I bet he's going to want to create fewer weapons and pull out of all these places. Yeah, right. And then you also have, what's his face? Was it Ronald Klain or Blinken? One of them, I think Blinken. One of them was, doing lobbying on foreign policy and taking money from foreign governments and from defense contractors. And so they benefit from the hawkishness in a variety of ways. And consequences be damned. It doesn't matter that people in Iran can't get the medicine that they need because there's sanctions on that. So it's disgusting and it needs to stop. And this is probably one of the worst things that Biden has done.